Minecraft has been a significant part of my life. As a few days ago, it's been 15 years since Minecraft was first launched, and today marks exactly 12 years since the release of Minecraft Xbox 360 Edition. That's like 2/3 of my entire life. The console edition had a unique nostalgia charm. Coming home, playing with friends, the bright gamma settings, watching YouTubers like Stampy and iBallistic Squid were all part of the experience. I remember exploring the tutorial worlds with every major update to see new addition, especially the portion of Stampy's lovely world, or playing minigames like Battle Mode or the Elytra one. If you're watching this in 2024, you should know that Console Edition was discontinued in 2019 by Mojang in favor of the more popular Bedrock Edition. When Bedrock Edition came around with its enhanced accessibility and better coding, it was an obvious choice for Microsoft and Mojang to jump ship. However, it was quite unpopular with the larger console user base. Since then, there was no real way to play the old versions unless you had an old console or a disc. But luckily, that's where Legacy4j for Java comes in. Legacy4j, short for Legacy4Java, rewrites the entire Java GUI to and feel to mimic the old Xbox days. How do you install? Well, it's really simple. You can install Legacy4j from Modpack or CurseForge for version 1.20.2 or higher. Alternatively, you can download the modpack known as Reconsole. In this video, I'll be reviewing the Reconsole modpack, which includes Legacy4j and has many features from the old console days, such as old world generations from beta 1.1 to 1.17.1, all the old tutorial worlds stretching from tutorial 1 to tutorial 46, and because of how lightweight it is for lower NPCs. And on top of that, I will also be checking out Legacy Edition minigames, a whole separate project where as of right now is a port of Minecraft Battle from console, while Glide and Tumble isn't currently in development. Before we continue, I want to acknowledge the creators behind all three of these projects, Legacy4j, Reconsole, and LEM, because it was a lot of work to put these projects into reality. And today, I managed to interview the lead developers and owners of both Legacy4j and LEM, so throughout the video, I'll be reviewing their answers. Without further ado, let's go through all the changes. Now, let's start with the most obvious change, the startup logo and menus. Every feature from the console edition has been implemented, from the load, the create, and join bars to the settings, and everything works just how you expect it to be. However, some features such as changing skins or how to play are not yet implemented. Moving on to creating and loading worlds. If you have downloaded the Reconsole modpack, you can access every tutorial world. And if you use the Reconsole modpack as well, additionally you get old texture packs, such as Plastic and Medieval. When creating a world, there are various options and more options, such as the experimental one and the legacy console options to give that classic feel. For today's video, I'm gonna load up my favorite tutorial world, Tutorial 14. Once you load into the game, you're hit with a lot of nostalgia. You can see the hotbars, race, you can see all the buttons, the tips when you look at a block. One thing I want to note is, if you go to the settings and find gamma and you set it to 100, you can truly experience the old classic feel because the developer took time to work on the entire lighting setting, which is incredible. When it comes to the actual gameplay itself, it's as standard as Minecraft can be. However, the GUI of various things has been reverted to the old console feel. If that's the crafting table, where if you can see what materials you need, the inventory, and much more. Small features like the mouse has been replaced with a cross, and everything is very customizable. And there is also controller support. I haven't tried it yet, but what I've been told, it works perfectly. And one of my favorite features is that the combat has been reverted to pre-1.9 mechanics, so you can now swing instead of needing to crit. On the opposite side of the field out of survival, in creative mode, all the tabs are back to the classic GUI, with every new item included, which is really nice. And you can see a lot of the items has been reverted to their old texture packs, such as potions, totems, and weight that you can see in game. And if you travel to the nether, you can see the old netherrack is there. One other important feature is how the advancement is having a new UI, because it's completely no longer on Xbox or PS3, it has to innovate. One thing that I couldn't figure out was when it comes to crafting in the Legacy Edition, I didn't know how to access my armor in my inventory. But there is an option to go into classic graphic if you prefer it. Lastly, an important feature I'm very happy about is you can exit the world without saving. If a creeper blew up your base, you can 100% exit without saving, and you can revert back to where it was before it blew up, or you can save the game. One other feature I was unable to do as of right now because it was on a server was actually brought to my attention by Pokemania 101. Go check out their video, and how you can see how the usernames are highlighted. But they also said that legacy crafting doesn't work in servers, so I recommend you going on to classic crafting for that. Now, server customizations. You can see how there's different options like amplified or single biome, but let's look at the superflat options. Superflat is fully customizable with multiple different settings for you to make it, with different layers, what type of biomes you want in it, or what generation you want. And you can see how the experimental options allow 1.21 features like the copper blocks or the crafter. And I forgot to mention very early on, but the villager traits are in their console edition form. I forgot to mention that because I discovered that right now. When I asked the main developer, wilyicaro, and I'm so sorry if I mispronounced your name, I asked a few questions such as how did they get the gamma system to work, how they were able to encapsulate and recreate the old Minecraft Legacy Edition feel, and how they got controller support. This is what they said. Other than nostalgia reasons, what inspired the creation of Legacy4j?
Well, my main inspirations, besides the nostalgia, were the exceptional quality of the Minecraft Legacy console edition, which is still evident today, especially when comparing to Bedrock edition, and also being a challenge trying to recreate something at that level, and I like it from that. There's never been a Minecraft Java edition mod that changed the game's interface so much, just specific things.
How did you ensure and create the accuracy and nostalgia in recreating the old console edition experience?
Well, the recreating part is always more interesting. You create your own solutions trying to make it work as close as possible to the original. Sometimes there's something that really cannot be as close, so it's necessary to adapt, but without leaving the nostalgic feeling.
How did you get the gamma/lighting feature to work?
This part was very simple. The first time I implemented it was simply a texture on the screen, which darkened or brightened according to the brightness slider. I knew it wasn't ideal, so I finally managed to apply a shader on the screen, which in fact works like Legacy Edition, brightening or darkening each pixel rendered on the screen.
How did you manage to include controller support?
Well, I already had a little experience with controller support, which made it a bit easier, but I've never done something practically from scratch like with Legacy4j. So I did it the simplest way I could imagine. The controller would emulate the keyboard and actions, which made it much easier so that I didn't have to repeat lines and lines of code. And initially, I had already prepared so that there would be a way to map the same key bindings from the keyboard to the controller as in the latest version.
It feels like I'm forgetting something that was also a big part of console edition. What could it be? What could it be? Oh, right! The minigames! To truly get the full console edition experience, I decided to check out LEM, basically a ground-up version of the Legacy minigames to Java by its lead developer Emmie, who I interviewed and asked a few questions about. As of right now, it is in a closed alpha, and the only way is to subscribe to their Patreon or sign up to gain access. Luckily, I subbed to their Patreon for $2 a month, which is a steal, and I recommend you should do so to help out with the project. Once you've been whitelisted and joined the server, you're entered into the classic lobby, with some of the lobby secrets lying around that you can find and explore. The GUI and ready buttons are there for you to probably start the match faster. But in order to start playing matches, you need at least one other person to join to start the game, and it can go up to 16 players. Once a player or more join, a countdown begins, where once it hits 0, you are transported to various of the classic maps from the Legacy Edition. Depending on the map, you may need to put on a resource pack, which takes a bit of time, but once you're fully loaded in, there's a countdown until the game begins. Once it hits 0, you're hit with a soundtrack from one of the various different battle minigame tracks. I am not sure if all these tracks are safe to put on YouTube or I might get copyrighted strike, so do not count me that you can play these. So you may be asking, what are the rules? Well, it's really simple. Last man standing. The mechanics itself is very simple. You have one row of your hotbar, and it's pre-1.9 combat, so there's no cooldown. If the game takes a while, or it's a 1v1, you'll be hit with an amazing graphic effect called Showdown, where you and your enemy are highlighted to finish up the game, and whoever can get the final blow on each other wins. As I said before, I asked Emmie a few questions about the entire LCM process. How did you make it feel authentic? What happened to Tumble and Clyde? And when are they leaving closed alpha? And this is what she told me. You've been working on this since 2022. What was the main reason for making LEM?
LEM actually started in November of 2020, with the first actual playable version of it in July of 2021. The main reason I've worked on it is both for the purpose of preserving the online experience of the mini-games when all consoles inevitably go offline, this happened with the Wii U of this year, and also ease of access. Asking someone to play on Java Edition is a lot easier than asking them to hook up an old console, potentially paying for an online service just to play it.
How do you ensure and create the accuracy and nostalgia in recreating the old console edition PvP experience?
I have a tendency to notice more small details, which I've just compared LEM to real hardware to notice differences and fix what I can most of the time. There is a lot of technical stuff behind how this is pulled off, but I'm not sure if you're looking for an explanation of all that. We still haven't perfected the recreation of the old combat system inside of modern Minecraft yet. We do have cooldowns removed and accurate knockback, but bows and sword blocking are still not implemented. Sword blocking used to be actually a thing in older versions, but was removed due to a really bad implementation that made the experience worse than just not having it.
When do you think you'll be able to leave closed alpha?
Hopefully by the end of this year. The biggest roadblock is handling cheaters. We are currently making big progress with this with a new developer, Sensei Wells, coming on to help make a server-side replay system to help us be able to investigate cheating without a 480p 15 FPS video as evidence for a cheater. We also want to try to at least have a basic anti-cheat that can alert moderators to suspicious behavior so that they can get onto it quickly.
What are the plans for Tumble and Glide?
Currently in development, S_noob has been experimenting with Glide recently, which you can see in the hashtag Glide development channel in Discord or his YouTube channel. He knows the technical details, so you'd need to ask him, but I know it uses a ton of core shader junk to pull the rendering off with talking to speedrunners to get a good understanding of the mechanics of the boosters right. As for Tumble, someone, Bugs, made a layer generator for it by looking at screenshots of layers generated by Xbox One Edition alongside looking at Tumble's GRF files, which determines a lot of things about how it works, to make something very similar to Tumble's actual layer generation. The main reason why Tumble isn't available yet is we need to get the code in a state where it can fully handle swapping out the game modes, as in my infinite wisdom did not initially design the project to be able to do that. We're very close to this. Mods Tool 2 has a huge amount of back-end changes that are leading up to this.
The team behind Legacy4j, LEM, and Reconsoles put so much effort into the work to help bring this nostalgia feel back to us, and it brings a smile to my face for the good old days where being a kid meant being a kid. I was unable to fit all the answers into this video, but I will have a second one this weekend with all the questions and answers. But until then, everybody, stay tuned for my other projects, subscribe, and goodbye.